making stuff up.
That's
Just let it
basically
happen.
it's basically my whole career, bro. Okay. But as long as you're cozy and good to go and Gucci, I am likewise. Oh, that's good stuff.
hmm I'm Gooch.
Nothing like some wild berry tea. Okay. So, hey guys, welcome to TreeBark episode. Dang, I think this is already episode 9. It's been quite a ride so far. And I want to say this going into it, I don't really know how to really gauge the professionality of myself or the casualness that I have because I am here with a very special guest and person in my life, Blargh. Hi, babe.
Hi, love. How
How are
you
you
doing?
doing? How are you doing today?
I'm doing alright. Still working on college stuff, but we'll get there.
So, this is gonna be kind of, I think, a little bit, like a little redundant. I want to say because we've been together for already for like a good I want to say 2 years and a half, and a lot of the
Well,
things
I
that
mean, we've
I'm,
known each other for almost 4 now, almost.
I mean, geez, what
Yeah,
2017?
16, 17.
I want to say like
Oh.
early 17 or late 16. So yeah, we're kind of hitting that mark already.
I mean, we're so bad that we don't even remember uh what day we said as our like anniversary, quote unquote.
That's why we just make it up whenever we want.
That's true.
It's
It's like
literally
it's a free anniversary for whenever we feel like it.
Yeah, because that's like the same way that me and my brother are treating our dog. Like, we don't know when Luna's birthday is, to be honest, and we're like, oh, we'll make it on like Halloween or something cool, and then we're just gonna say that's her birthday. But
Wait, he don't even remember. He doesn't even remember when he got her.
I don't know. I think it was sometime either in the fall or the spring. So kind of a huge margin there.
It's a lot of months in between.
But okay, so I just wanted to start off though with basically the most basic question though. How did you become a furry? Or rather actually, I would like to ask you to even back it up further than that and like is furry, do you think the way you see it, furry as an umbrella term and then it goes under to scaly, or how do you divide up the species? Cuz is it either
So
one or the other?
you want to get technical in my opinion on like the structure of furry.
Yeah, if you could dive into that, I think that would be
Um,
appreciated.
so I get. I mean, not everyone's gonna agree with me, but we all have our things. So no, the furry fandom, I guess you could say, is the parent name to it. Instead of just saying furry, because furry is short, but
Mm-hmm.
generally a major population of our furries are furry, whether that's a fuzzy dragon or a wolf or
So
a cat.
they're like
I,
furry on a basic level
I
is
think,
more
I
like canine or mammalian like.
mm, so. I think no, like furry fandom is the parent name to all the subdivisions we have within it. So you have furry fandom as the parent name, and then under it is furry, and then you got big cats or whatever little subgroups or
Mm-hmm.
avians or scalies, and scalies have their subdivisions of dragons.
So it's
Like
actually it.
there's hierarchy to me there's hierarchy trees that got to almost like like an animal kingdom except for furry fandom. It's a
Oh,
hierarchy of furry fandom.
that's a good way of putting it. Actually, I never thought about there would be a furry animal kingdom actually, and there's actually a hierarchy. So there's kind of like
Well, kind of. I mean, it's a hierarchy to names if you want to get to that. That's how I see it.
So it kind of like branches off from furry as a general name, and then you want to like get a little bit more specific. You're like for you actually to introduce. I don't think I even mentioned it. But you're a dragon, so coming from that scaly species, you would still fall under furry.
Yeah, because because furry is such a widely used term, even outside of it. Like,
Yeah,
I don't think quote unquote normies or just regular people who are not part of the fandom generally, if they see it, will tag it as furry because that's what they know.
yeah, that's a good.
They don't know the furry fandom naming kingdom, I guess.
That is a really good point though, because although it is a subset of already this subculture, a lot of there are. I think a good point though is there are a lot of other like horse type of sonas and stuff, other horse furries, but there is also a different community that's also dedicated to like ponies, but they're not necessarily horses. Under furry, they're bronies, so it can kind of get a little bit
Well,
hairy.
well, even then, horse. So like, there is different horse types too. There is the horses, then you've got ponies. Ponies are actually a different type of animal. But with that, I mean, again, it's how they name themselves too, because the bronies, some are had a claim to ties to the furry fandom, but I've met bronies who do not claim ties to the furry fandom, but claim to the brother or sisterhood. I think
Okay,
they
so
like to call themselves, but they follow that of the fandom of the show.
yeah. Oh, okay, yeah. So that's this very specific
So,
point
so
there.
that's where the bronies term comes in. Is that specifically, just like with furry fandom, brony fandom is specifically to My Little Pony, not very specific to furry fandom. It doesn't mean they can't intersect, but they are, you could say, separate entities,
Yeah, and
depending on the person. Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with like ascribing to both communities. It's not like you can just solely like commit to one. So definitely, yeah, I think we have some friends actually who have been in the brony community, but then they've slowly gone into the furry community and RIP
Yeah,
brony cons and stuff.
that or they acknowledge both. Like even with other like what's great about just fandoms in general is like we can subscribe to multiple fandoms. I mean, you've got
Mhm.
people who are anime freaks or anime fanatics or however you want to call them, or the
Weeaboos.
great weeb power, or was it otakus
Yeah,
or
otaku is
something?
even
Or
like in Japanese. That's like you're the obsessed, like you're committed to that thing. You're otaku.
but
I'm
either way,
otaku
so
for furry.
you got those. You also got people who are very great fandoms into like the 40K universe, or say even like Blizzard. A lot of people are invested in the Warhammer,
Oh
um,
yeah, like communities
and
by and large are everywhere. You can find them in every facet of like a
uh,
really, as long as that's a good thing to think
so
about too, because
yeah,
as long
sorry,
as
not
you,
Warhammer, World of Warcraft.
well,
That's what.
yeah, like anything that a lot of people can garner interest and relationships over and talk about, like definitely can form a community. Well, kind of backing it up though, for you personally, and this is kind of tying into the way we met, that I wanted to bring up. So with like your career path, you're actually in the military and you're in service, and thank you for that first of all. How is that kind of bled into and delved into your background being or getting into the fandom?
I mean, so I guess getting into the fan, um, I guess more for me because I did it I joined so early, like pretty much out of high school. 'Cause
Mm-hmm. So pretty
I
much
didn't really have
from
a job during high school, so in some ways it gave me financial means to get more into the fandom.
oh no, so
Like,
pretty
don't,
much from your adult life, you were basically out the gate with this career.
yeah, essentially. So yeah, so like I'd say like alert, like when my first early days of the fandom and stuff like that, I was more of a lurker, but I did not know much until I went to high school to learn more about the furry fandom and hormones and whatnot. But um, when I got into the military, to be honest, like it took a year and a half or like 2 years before I actually like went finding it, I guess, because I didn't really look for it in sub school, because a lot of my
Mm-hmm.
social needs were met by like pretty much the people I was hanging out in sub school and doing all that stuff. But
So what were
when it came
some of
to
the what were some of the
when it came
fringe things that got into like, oh, I want to find out more about this?
I think when I was in Hawaii to like get more into it, when I when I got more into it when I came to Hawaii,
Mm-hmm.
uh, it and I looked up the group. it I found it as a way to like get more friends outside of work because I realized maybe I should have people outside of work so it's not so I can have experience that's not just like with the people I work with all the time.
I
So
I
like
don't.
just develop a bigger relationship network, I guess you could say.
Yeah, because I mean, would you say like branching off, like this is just kind of, I think the challenge that everybody faces, something that I certainly had to come to grips with was I was very social from high school, and a lot of the times like going to classes or achieving a certain grade level is something that I wanted to go for because I wanted to be in the same classes with my friends. But dipping into college and then everybody kind of branching off, a lot of those friendships honestly kind of died out for me. And I still have some of my like main group of friends, but I definitely felt a lack of that social kind of very deep connection that I had before with people. Like even just being very not necessarily intimate, but like socially intimate. Did you feel
Well,
any of that kind of strain?
so like going from high school, like say into the military or something. So to me, my the view on like friendships and like the friendships and how do I want to title it? And time, friendships and time. So
Mm-hmm.
like yeah, there's I've had a lot of good buddies and stuff in high school, and I wouldn't mind seeing them again and hanging out with them. Like I do sometimes every contact somebody who I may know that's in the area or see if they are in the area, and just get like a lunch or something and see what they're up to.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. Um,
And that's just with your regular
but
friends.
yeah, this is like regular high school friends. So like, um, I think it's totally natural to like have communication drop out and friendship be on a standby because we can only maintain like the active conversation with only so many people at once,
Yeah.
like very high. And then there's others who you talk to and you're really good friends with, but you don't talk to them as much. I guess you say you turn really passive with them, which is, I guess, what I get to say with a lot of my friends is I'm in a passive relationship with them. And every once in a while, maybe when feeling froggy, I'll poke at them and be like, "Hey, what's up?" And
And
then
then
do a reconnection, see what's new, and see what's going on. Especially from like, say, coming into an area and just be like, "Hey, I haven't seen you in a while. You are you free for the time that I'm here and stuff like that? Maybe we can do something, catch up,
mm-hmm.
just do something fun in general."
And that's like the crucial element, like you mentioned, time. So everyone's off doing their own thing. We got our own responsibilities and stuff. So it's really nice though to know that at least we have that kind of connection though through the fandom with all of our old buddies and like everybody, although they're doing their own thing, hitting them up to say hello or just like a colon 3 is very nice, to see. Do you
Call it three.
Do you think that your social circle has actually like widened though than you would have naturally been otherwise?
I'd
Th-
like to say that it has like I even though I can't actively main because I talk to quite a few people
yeah, I know
here and
it's
there.
your social circle's so big. Like the
But it
way,
also there's also attacks to that too though.
yeah, the
It,
the way I kind of gauge it is like I look at my Telegram chat and then I see yours whenever you're around. I'm like looking at all the chats that you're in, and I'm like, why is he not stopping scrolling? And he keeps on
well,
going, and it's like, how do you
well,
manage?
okay, so like the other thing too, and some people, I don't know if some of my friends listen to this or not. I apologize if you don't like the method I do, but it helps me keep in track. Is I like saving messages, and there's people who do remember because there's funny events that happened around it that I can easily remember, but I don't delete messages
You
on
don't
Telegram
ever delete
unless
chats.
no, and unless Telegram eventually lets it go. I'll delete media stuff because it takes up the phone and like destroys the phone. But for the most part, text is pretty small. You can see on your cache and stuff like that, like the local cache that saves up, it isn't really that big. The
Yeah,
the
it's
what takes up the
mainly
biggest portion is all media and images. But if you
mainly that
delete
GIF.
that and keep all the text, you have all that text. So, like it's a good and it's I appreciate the people at Telegram for what they do. I don't know all the nitty gritty. Maybe they have some dirt. That's fine. I still enjoy using Telegram.
Yeah, I have heard they have some infosec
Until
stuff problems, but
in,
we don't have to go over
until they
that.
until they have major issues and everybody's like jumping ship, then
It's good
I'm
for now,
appeased
yeah.
because a lot of the community, a lot of the furry fandom thrives on Telegram for the most part. I haven't really seen too many people not on Telegram.
I know, and you just legit got a whole batch of new stickers too that I can't wait to use. So
Alright.
more
Yeah,
fuel to the fire.
give you yours. I love yours.
I know I have to go and add that one. I really do appreciate that. Thanks, babe. And the
You should,
Shiba with the drape over his head, and then
yeah,
it's him
just
kind of just there, and then it's the next one is like when you use the next sticker, it's the Shiba staring at you with the drapes over his head.
yeah, you should just throw those stickers up while you during the timeline
Oh,
for your YouTube.
for my I could totally use that. I also gotta thank Kinga because check out Kinga though. That's a small short plug
Oh
for you.
yeah. Hold on. Let me plug them correctly.
Oh yeah, what's his
Uh,
at? I keep forgetting.
so if you guys want to find him, his at on, oh God, I even talked to him about this when I was at TFF. But his at for every application is different, and it's really funny. But for Telegram, if you want to hit him up with a PM, I would do at King Draws.
Oh, okay, that's easy to remember.
Yeah, he does keep it at least to that. But it
He's a
was really
good
funny.
Roo.
He is, and it's actually really funny because he was talking about it. I mean, for his Twitter, if you go to at King Draws 2 on his Twitter,
Mm-hmm.
then he does some nice stickers. Yeah, if you like some kind of toony and dorky stickers, he does some fantastic
Yeah,
ones.
and he's got a
He's been
really good
getting
turnaround
really
too.
good. Yeah, it was like less than a week almost. I mean, the
So
other,
what was
uh,
that? No,
and
no,
the
no,
other thing
go
too,
on.
he does some pretty good. He does some pretty good semi-toony or kind of toony-ish uh arts, like full-on arts,
Yeah, it's really
not just
good.
stickers. But
That and
anyways,
I also he was also a guest on the first ever TreeBark, so I actually have to
oh
give
yeah,
him a
that's
big
true.
thanks. He helped get this thing started, so I really do appreciate that. I mean, I can't
Yeah,
thank him enough for
yeah.
that.
Actually, at TFF, he was talking about that. We were talking about you a little bit in that case. It was kind of fun.
Oh, I'm glad he enjoyed it though, and yeah, no, I do want to have a lot of reoccurring guests to catch up with people. I think that would be really good, and I think a lot of people would really appreciate the catch up with some artists and people. So we'll definitely do that in the future. Kind of
Yeah,
delving.
oh,
Well,
sorry. Yeah, I
no, so
was gonna
kind
say
of yes. I know it's like a Skype call sometimes.
I mean, Discord's pretty much the new Skype.
Yeah, that's
Hashtag
true. It's not
S-
even better
Skype for
necessarily. It's not even necessarily better with like internet problems too.
but I was just saying, like, yeah, I would let your guest and viewers definitely if if they have any reoccurring people they'd enjoy seeing throughout your episodes, then I would definitely see what your viewers want to see.
Yeah, for sure. And so kind of stepping back though, developing your character as Blargh the Green Forest Dragon though. How did that come about?
Uh, do you want like how I got into the fandom, or do you want to like how the just him in general?
Well, I know was it like a deep-seated interest in dragons even before the community?
So yeah, so like I got into reading through my parents and stuff like that, and I enjoyed a lot of fantasy books. Generally, more. mm, I didn't read too many sci-fi ones. There is a few sci-fi ones that I do enjoy, like the one I mentioned, um, On a Pale Horse in that series.
Oh, it's so
I
good.
forget who the I forget who the author was. That one's a good one, and that one is still fantasy, but I'd say that one also hits a little bit of sci-fi too because it's more of a futuristic element. But for the most part, I do enjoy reading fantasy. So like Anne McCaffrey or like The Dragon Rider, which is a good
Hmm.
old book. I like reading the Aragon series. Uh, I have yet to read the last book in that series. I'm a terrible person because
Which
I've
one
gotten
was
very
that?
last series.
For was it under? It's part of the Aragon series because I thought the last one was like a culmination of like it revolved around some kind of recap about a sword or something.
I don't remember. I think it was the one with the gold dragon on the cover was the one that I didn't read. I
Eldest?
don't
Was that the...
remember.
No, that's not Eldest, is it?
I thought Eldest was the second one. I don't remember. I could look this up right now, but I'm gonna be lazy on this one and say nah. But
Yes, somebody
so
will
like
correct us.
yeah, somebody's gonna put in the comment section, you wrong. It's like, oh okay, thanks.
It was the
Sorry.
purple dragon.
Oh jeez. Oh god. Oh, it'd be like dragon viewers and just be like, oh, look at this nerd dragon. He's wrong. They're gonna push up their glasses and be like, technically, it's this dragon. Like, oh, I'm sorry.
But as you're saying,
So yeah, so I've read a lot of dragon books, but I've also read other ones that were interesting fantasy sci-fi ones. There was another one, Emma Keffer one that I really enjoyed, which was uh about telekinesis people
hmm,
and like where humanity got to a spacefaring race, and there's these telekinesis people that help with getting stuff transported to and from planets, and they
a,
ended up having to deal with this bug
a
or
lot of
like
the
they end
sci-fi and fantasy elements.
yeah, essentially. So I've read a lot of sci-fi and fantasy, and a lot of it's through reading. Some of it was playing games. I mean, Halo was coming out. I had like a knack for the Covenant elites, especially like specifically the elites, because
Were they the
elites
scaly ones?
elites BB. Uh, I guess you could say they're the scaly ones,
More
but
on the reptilian side, though.
yeah, that's why I like the elite, like more than humans, because they were just different. They're like not human. Humans kind of yeah, okay, human, whatever. But
But
no,
that
like the
makes it...
creatures, like just sci-fi fantasy creatures, and dragons are like the most interesting ones. So that's I ended up going towards, the elites in Halo, or like just playing as a different species character, especially as an Argonian or Khajiit and Morrowind, Oblivion, so
Yeah, that
on.
that is a common thread though that I'm kind of realizing though as I'm trying to like see what the start is for most people, and it's it's kind of lame to say this, but like wow, the interest in humanity is kind of low. So when you go into these like fantasy realms, it's like yeah, frick yeah, I want to be the dragon or I want to be like the talking werewolf or something. Like it's so much more interesting.
Well, to be okay, so to be honest, so like I didn't really, I had a knack for dragons and stuff like that. But like in the Anna McCaffrey books, I've always imagined myself as a dragon rider, not as the dragon.
Yeah, I do. I remember even in your room when we went up there in Washington to your old room growing up. You have this figure, and it was one of those like puzzle kind of like wooden sculpture type of things.
Oh yeah, I
And
have that hanging up. It's awesome.
but
I need to
no, but
fix
there's
it.
a missing piece though, isn't there?
Uh,
Because
I
there's
think
a
I think
dragon,
there's more.
and I heard
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. It had a dragon rider, and I specifically cut him off. But that was during high school though, when I was pretty much full set on to like dragons. I was like, I don't need no stinking knight on this dragon, so I
was
just
that
took the
demeaning?
exact knife. Yeah, it was demeaning to his looks. I was like, nah,
I
we're
have no
too.
master.
I'm gonna purposefully take this one off.
And you also okay, is it kind of like a trope? Do all scalies, or at least specifically like avian or winged beasts, like How to Train Your Dragon?
I don't know on that one. Like, I do enjoy the movies. I do enjoy those movies, but
They are good.
I can't say for all of them because I'm sure there's like a scaly out there that's like that freaking sucks. No,
Ah, I that would really
I
bum me out. Come on,
I'm just saying
it's
like
got
out
leather
of probability.
straps. It's got a really cute stitched looking Disney character, but with wings. He can shoot
God,
lightning.
leather straps. Yeah, we're gonna. You know what? There's a lot of E621.
Oh god, don't even get that started.
I mean, they've already
Even
changed their front page. They've already started something.
yeah, I actually found that out through memes that E621 when they updated their site and the UI changed the image from the title, the menu, and everyone's like losing their minds because, there's not like cute art there anymore.
Oh, that's just as bad. I mean, it's just as bad as FA changing their setup. Everybody was like, "Oh, what is this?"
I
Like
literally
when you,
have FA open right now, and I think it looks better.
oh wow, did E621 just completely remove their homepage?
I don't know what they're up to, but I guess you
Bruh,
just have to embrace what direction they're
if
going
any
in.
developer from E621 ever watches this, put back your homepage. Have a nice homepage. You can still ask if somebody's over 18 with a nice homepage.
That is true. That is easily doable. But I mean, like, well, coming from like such a, I don't want to say like veteran furry as yourself, but you've been on
Yeah,
E621.
veteran.
You've, you,
Actually,
well,
no, I don't go on E621 a lot, to be honest.
okay, well, you've known about it longer than me, so seeing these old
Uh,
websites kind of progress over time, do you want to keep them the way that you knew them growing up, or do you kind of like
mm,
embrace the change?
I don't know. I'll let a base change as long. I mean, so like it's kind of up to them how they want to change it, but I think the best way to change it is to kind of see like a good portion of what the community wants, not all of it, because sometimes the community is a flaming ball of mess. But something that you think is really practical and it would make sense. Like today's day and age, figuring out what's good for the consumer because FA and E621 are consumer sites.
Yes.
You could say like, yeah, we're not really like buying a t-shirt or anything special or like, oh, I'm buying this giant glass ding dong. Um,
There's no real product
but
to it.
yeah, there's no real product to it per se, but the product is the arts. So whether that be like YC, you could say that the products are YCHs or people sending the commissions or whatnot, but
But
like the
it's like
products
kind
are
of
those arts that are posted on there. So we're consuming
the
the
use of
artwork.
it is, yeah, sharing. It's a really like open platform, and without the user base, then there is no site really. And I think that, yeah, like over time, like with the I see over time with the kind of spread or the mainstream, I think I still will hold true that the community, although it's getting bigger, is still pretty niche. And
Mm,
I
yeah,
think, do you think that as well?
niche in what way though? Like,
Like within the fandom, there are still many subcultures, and you'll find like variety of things from the arts to the games, and like you can always delve deeper. But on a broad sense, yeah, I guess it is kind of scaling up more and more. Um, but that I don't know if that's gonna lead to like necessarily more platforms for, like, I guess it just depends on the user base, what people actually want to make for the community by the community, and that's what I really appreciate.
yes. So like the the success of the community is driven by the community. So we're and it's those around it, like the attitude that we take on it. Like it's kind of
Hmm.
funny in some ways that like, oh yeah, furries are weird and they try to make fun of it. But you take kind of take a look at it and we're already making fun of ourselves. We're not, it's like,
And you
we already
even
know that we're trash and we kind of embrace it. So like there's not really much that you can already say that we haven't done because we already know.
I seen this one meme where it's like these two strong armed people, like, that like bro fist each other, or that they're like shaking
Oh
hands
yeah,
over,
that meme.
and it's like anime community on one side, furry community on the other, making fun of furries, and that's what
Beastars.
they're shaking.
Uh,
Or yeah, B
uh,
stars, yeah. That's another
Beastars.
good one.
You should watch the English trailer for that. I'm actually might be interested in
The
rewatching Beastars in English
I don't
because
know the
actually it doesn't seem too bad.
I don't know the person who is dubbing for Lugosi personally, but I know he's making waves actually in the furry community.
Oh well, everyone, because the furry community is like has such a fur boner for
That sultry
for the
wolf.
Legoshi,
But no,
yeah,
he
for
does
that
a
sultry wolf and that succulent deer or yeah deer
Lewis.
yeah
But I will admit, no,
or
I haven't heard
uh
his name though. But I will admit it is pretty cool to see. I'm pretty sure the voice actor's not a furry. I mean, that's how they all start, right? But
I mean
he's been embracing it
isn't
though, and been doing Twitch streams and whatnot. And did you hear recently the his reading of the Uwu and the Bulgy
oh
Wulgy?
I can't believe he did that. I,
Well, he went on for
I'm
some
surprised
time.
he didn't. I didn't surprised he did. I'm surprised he didn't read it in the first place. But he went on pretty far.
Yeah, and then he's like, "Oh, I can't do this." It was great.
But I mean, who is it? Haida in the
Haida was the hyena from Agretsuko, and
yeah.
he's
So
also a super iconic figure now in the fandom.
isn't he playing as the best friend,
Best friend to whom?
Lugoshi?
Oh, the voice actor for Haida is actually dubbing as the
I
was it
think
the golden
so.
retriever?
Maybe.
Oh, I'm gonna have to look that up now. But
Yeah,
I
maybe.
I
Somebody,
really
somebody in the comments is gonna say, "Oh, he's dumb too. He's dumb again. Strike twice.
wow.
You're dumb."
I just think of him. Did you ever watch BoJack? I just think of the golden retriever as Mr. Peanut Butter from BoJack Horseman.
Oh no, why would you associate that? This
Because
is not a crossover episode.
they're oh god, what is this, a crossover episode? But it's no, it's just like those parallels. They make the most friendly characters that are kind of sidekick best friends as just like man's best friend is a golden retriever, and that's so perfect.
Yeah, but like, look, look, man, I should know Legoshi's best friend's name, and I can't remember.
I actually don't know it either. I'll just call him Mr. Peanut Butter.
No, don't call him Mr. Peanut Butter. That's degrading. That I like
When we
him
watch
over
it,
Mr. Peanut Butter.
when we rewatch it, when the Netflix series comes, and then we'll be in bed, I'll just point out Mr. Peanut Butter whenever he's on screen.
Oh,
You sound so excited. But
no, I'm just thinking about the other bedroom there.
oh yeah,
I
so
might have to I might have to move to that bed.
oh, what bedroom? What is this new to me? Am I
No, no, the other bedroom in the house, dork.
the other bedroom?
Yeah,
Hmm.
the one that your grandparents use when they visit.
Yeah, that one oh I put the other dragon plush in there now. He's just chilling in there.
Ah, he needs to come back.
Oh yeah,
I
so to
love
give people some context, right now, well, the whole main reason why this interview is not actually happening in person because we freaking live together, but Blarg's all the way in Washington for work, and as you know, like I host this from Hawaii, so there's kind of that divide right now.
I mean, if you want, you can come over and have a personal interview.
I mean, that would be great, if work wasn't a thing and if more work wasn't a thing. You know, who needs to work? Who needs money? That's, you know what? Money's the root of all evil. We don't need any of that. And then I go to the front gate
Uh,
of the airport and they're like, you need some of that money. I'm like, oh.
hey, don't worry, coronavirus has got your back.
Oh,
For
God,
only
no,
like
don't.
for only like less than
Uh,
$100, you too can fly today.
you know what? If anything, that's probably one of the perks of coronavirus. Not that I'm saying that there's anything good about it, but it's probably reducing travel and a lot of people who are or are should be quarantined are quarantined, so I see that there is a good hold on it, but the hype is definitely real but not in the right way. There was even this tweet by Elon Musk saying that I don't know if I'm quoting it directly, but he said the coronavirus thing is dumb. Like that was the whole tweet. And I don't know what it is about Elon tweeting about stuff that gives things validity, but so many people were just like, yeah, it's basically no more harmful than the flu, but it's just a new form of not necessarily the flu strain, but a virus that's not totally because it only harms people with like respiratory and illnesses that are typically more I would say like destructive to elderly people. So it's not like the plague. It's definitely overhyped.
Yeah, but I guess everyone's just concerned because well, I mean the other things to consider is that it's new, so like new things are scary
Yeah, that's for
concept.
sure. Yeah.
So there's that, and then there's also like the way that media like I'm gonna step on my soapbox media real quick. Media
No, go for it.
today is very quick, very short, and not always precise.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, we get, I guess you could say a lot of people feel that we get information overload or over sensation. So at the point to where it's like, oh, maybe I should start freaking out because how many multiple media sources start talking about it. So like there's a benefit to it because it brings awareness really quickly, but at the same time, maybe it's too quickly to the point where it's like, oh, people are now freaking out about it over something that's really small.
And I
I'm
think
not
this,
saying that coronavirus is really small, because it is. I mean, it seems to be pretty infectious quickly, although the damage that it does is not very high. And the only other concerns is that it's just new.
yeah,
It's
and
something big to look at. I mean, it's
that's
better than having the February? No, January. Was it February or January meme?
when it
I
started
don't want to
cropping
call
up.
out the name.
Well,
No, not when it was cropping up. Whatever meme that was for that month.
I don't know. It was
It was
probably
definitely
something.
January. The January memes.
It was
Yeah,
it was
it's better than the January memes.
it was probably something like with World War III happening, and then now
I was trying to
coronavirus,
avoid. I was trying
and
to avoid just
so
mentioning that, to be honest.
so you're gonna get drafted, and then you're gonna get sick and die of plague. So welcome to 2020, the new decade, new year, new me. Let's get it. But
New Year, me, I get sick and then drafted.
we're gonna have a strong force. Um, but that's actually like
We'll go to Space Boys,
another. Oh yeah, just go to Mars.
Space
Um,
Force.
hey, that's a real thing. I didn't
Shh.
I didn't know that the Air Force also became the Space Force, apparently. I don't know how long that's been going on. But anyway, Google, not, geez, I'm really dipping here, but a lot of different I/O events, like Google I/O and, I don't know, like Apple press events and stuff that they usually post and invite a lot of people from all around the world, they'll, they'll host these events, and this time of year, they've actually canceled a lot of them. So a lot of the people in the tech community have kind of worried about, oh, the next event for whatever so and so is not really going to happen, and that's kind of been downing the excitement. For
I
cons
mean,
though, now for fur cons, do you think that that's going to affect the way that we all meet and see each other, especially since I want to point out that the furry community is so tactile?
so it again, it depends on how the response is. Because if there's a lot of if say the coronavirus, there's a lot of concern for it, or we're trying to get it to the point where we mitigate it a lot,
Mm-hmm.
then that's a risk factor for those cons to take into consideration because that is a lot of people to bring around. Everyone knows that you get con cred. Oh woo.
Yeah, and it's hard enough to
Somebody's
just
gonna
avoid
bring
that.
something when they should have just stayed home.
Yeah.
But generally, a lot of people don't, and they probably have some excuse like, not being able to, not having seen these very far away friends in a long time, and this is kind of like one of those get-togethers to really enjoy something together. So they might risk everyone else in that concept. But also with that, it's just say you go healthy and you go flying to go all the way to say MFF. Flying is not really easy because you're in this capsule with a bunch of other people who may not be as, clean, you could say.
You know what I want to call that?
And
That's just a giant culture tube, and not
yeah,
culture from
it's
the
a flying
people,
culture too.
but like like culture in like a lab, like a
Yeah, no,
bio culture.
that's pretty much it. Like whether it's, for example, like those people on those cruise ships, another culture lab, just
Oh, that's yeah, just a small island of people.
yeah, that's just floating and moving. So like diseases are all around us, and like the way I see it, coronavirus is just another risk to take in consideration,
Mhm.
especially for those who manage cons and stuff like that. Like
Mhm.
for those big companies and stuff like that to have a concern about it, because a lot of people do have a concern about it in general at this point, especially with the way the media portrays it and, you know, recommendations from CDC and WHO
Mhm.
and whatnot. It's one of those really big considerations. So whether or not a con gets canceled because of those events, it's on the discretion of those con
And it is
leaders.
more it is rather fair though, yeah, to point out that Hey, yeah, if the board members want to unanimously rule that it's for your safety, then I don't think that it's ever right to just kind of get salty about it. I mean, it's for your health. So if
Yeah,
the
and
concern is safety, then that should be priority.
yeah, and then that's one of the things that they would put out as a response to like all the stakeholders or us as the consumers is like, hey, this is what's going on, and as much as we'd like to, an example would be like, as much as we'd like to see you come this year,
Mhm.
they can either say like, we're gonna reset our date to X day that we're gonna host the con, or be like, hey, we have to cancel this year. They'll do some way to, refund it back or find a way
Actually,
to
yeah, I mean,
to make it better for the next time that they can proceed forward with it.
I mean, actually, relative to us personally, we are planning on going to BLFC 2020, and I'm not really up to date though. I should be following their Twitter, admittedly. But did you see any
They have a
notifications about that?
Telegram,
I did
Uh,
not know that.
I mean, they have a Twitter also, but
Did you see any notifications about the status of like whether or not it's gonna affect the con for BLFC this year?
yes. So right now, so if for those listening and you guys want to watch the BLSC announcements, they do have one for their Twitter. I don't remember their handler, but it's probably something like at BLFC or something. I'll look it up here shortly. But if you want to follow their Telegram, which is really easy, it's t.me/biggest little FC. And their post on March 2nd states, we have no plans to postpone or cancel BLC in response to COVID-19 or
Oh, okay.
coronavirus.
Oh,
We are
great.
working closely with the hotel to implement additional sanitation measures and precautions to prevent disease spread in general. And we are closely monitoring development, more information soon to follow. So they are keeping active with the community and talking, which is what I would say a lot of the cons should do, is to keep constantly active with not only their board members and their volunteers and stuff like that, but also with the consumers for those conventions.
Yeah, it's a really good board and just very responsible of them. I think that's the way that you mentioned it. It's handled beautifully that way. And as long as we can communicate that, um, like, hey, you can still come and it's not affecting us, then I would feel safer with that sentiment. Speaking of cons though,
Mm,
how many cons do you think that you typically go to though per year? I feel like it's an increasing number for you. I mean, am I wrong?
uh, I'd say like at least two. I try to hit up two at least. Also, for those, as I said before, for their Twitter handler, it's at biggest little FC.
Okay.
Uh, so how many cons I go to? Generally BOC and MFF. I went MFF twice in a row right now. Uh, I'm not sure if I want to drop MFF or keep going with it because it is a really enjoyable con for that one. It's just really big. So just
Mm-hmm.
keep in mind that it's really hard to like see everyone at once with that because it's just so
It's
fat.
like, is it also like the square footage now? Like, keeping in mind that I've only been to BLFC. For you personally, is it just like the huge area, or is it just the density?
Both, because so like MFF is massive. It takes up multiple hotels
Oh
in that
wow.
whole convention strip alone. So like it sometimes a pain in the butt to get into those hotels. If if you're one of those traveling furs like myself,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you can kind of get away with being like, "Oh, I got status with so and so company." And then you kind of just book during those con times and you get like 48 hour guarantee in most places.
Oh, wonderful.
So so like for me, although I don't know if I'll keep my status for Hilton for next year. For this year, I can. at least try do MFF again using that status if I don't end up getting a room.
Mm-hmm. The one thing though that I've learned to get accustomed to during cons is that although that there's events set and you have some panels that you want to see, everything that you're gonna do or at least anticipate doing is totally out the window. So you could be
Well,
doing one thing in the dealer's den or get pulled over to like a con room party or something and you just don't know what's gonna happen.
well, that's like the fantastic thing about it. So like the convention's there for us as a fandom to get together and just enjoy. If if it's room parties that you like doing, or if it's like, friend surfing,
Mm-hmm.
or hitting up the dealer's den and talking to all the dealers, seeing what they do, or being part of the dealer's den, or being a panelist or whatnot, you can all enjoy that. You enjoy the con the way that you want. And yeah, you're right. Sometimes it's just very snappy. It's like, oh, I'm gonna do this next, even though you had like a formulated plan. Sometimes it's just whatever is in the moment because there's just so much going on. It's
Yeah.
very, very sensational,
There's so much energy.
yeah, there's so much energy and sensation and emotions all in one like area. Because there's probably couples there that have long distance relationships that don't see each other often until they come to these conventions, and sometimes
Very
they
true, because it's such an online
spend those
based
times with each
community.
other. Hmm.
So delving into like, yeah, there's so much energy. There's a lot of furs that you're meeting at the cons, and you're also, I bet, like discovering a lot of new things. Are some of those things like new hobbies or like fields that you get interested in from the cons, or just, I mean, in general? Because I know you're into photography, a little bit of sketching and trading art with other furs. How did like your photography start?
Mm, with photography, but photography started when I was traveling a lot, and with both not only with the military but also the cons and stuff like that. And like I did the first deployment with the one biggest mistake is I didn't take a camera with me. As much as I had my phone and stuff like that, and it was okay. I mean, phones
Mm-hmm.
at that time were, decent enough. It wasn't, as good as what I could get with a DSLR
Full
or
frame.
like a mirrorless or just not, well, I mean, not all DSLRs are full frames, but um, just having just a nice camera in general to take with specifically to take photos. And when I was hanging out with the furs over at Pro Ridge, Book Off was selling a Nikon D7000, and
Nice.
it was like for 500, $600 for like a whole starter, essentially a whole starter kit. All I needed was like a bag to carry it in. And I almost didn't buy it that day, but
Why?
I ended up looking at my bank account, kind of walked around, mulled over it, and then I was like, okay, I'm gonna buy it. And so
So
I bought it.
at least peripherally, like you were looking into cameras at the time, and you're like, oh, you know what, this would really be good, on my travels.
Yeah, exactly. And that's how that happened. Is like, you know what, this would be great for my travels. And to anyone who takes photography, and I'm sure maybe some of the professional photographers may agree, uh, may or disagree too. I don't know.
Do you speak with a
Take
lot
your
of? What was that?
uh, uh, take your camera, like take your camera with you. If you're climbing a mountain, take your camera with you. Even if it gets beaten up, at least you have your SD card of the pictures that you took during it. But just take it with you because you never know. There's never going to be a time where you're going to get the perfect shot. You might miss the opportunity to have the perfect shot, but just take pictures
But
because
there's
you'll get something
sometimes,
nice.
yeah, there's sometimes those moments that you couldn't have captured otherwise.
Hmm.
And did you, I don't know about this actually personally. Are you into any other specific like Telegram groups or other fur groups that have like a prevalent like focus on photography?
No, actually, I should probably look that up. That's a good one.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if that even exists. I was hoping if like
I
you could
think, I think,
illuminate me on that.
I don't. Yeah, no, I don't know. Now I gotta go.
Go look that up.
I gotta go. I gotta go ask a few people. There might be a few people who might know. I'll
Cause
have to. I'll have to delve into that.
there was one thing that you did mention to me a while ago, and that was I do like how every like artist in a sense, because art is so general that from digital illustration to writing, being an author, to photography, like you can be successful at it, especially in the community that supports it so well. The You mentioned this one thing that you wanted to try, where you go to an event, and I don't know if any other furs do this though. Don't they charge like, oh, if you
I,
want half an hour of photos, I'll do it for this much.
yeah, I don't. I kind of want to try one, but I don't. I haven't. Maybe it's just because I don't know enough photographers to do that. Because I never heard anyone really do photo commissions. Like,
Mm-hmm.
they'll sit down with you, take photos of your characters and stuff like that. Like, I haven't really seen any of that with the photographers.
Do some
And maybe it's
people
just because I haven't looked into it,
mm-hmm.
so I don't know.
Do some people at cons, if you've ever noticed, I've seen a lot of great photos, but I mean a lot of it is run and gun and stuff, like when you have those fursuit parades. Um is I've seen some though where it looks like they legitimately set up shop and they put up their whole backdrop and they put their spotlightings on, like the three different, lighting angles and everything, and it's really high quality. And then they'll take it and then they'll get back to you later, but then they'll even do some post editing. And I noticed some photographers, they'll, how a lot of suits have the toonie eyes or the follow me eyes.
Hmm.
So sometimes at certain angles it doesn't track so well, so they'll do touch-ups, and then those touch-ups, they'll actually like do a little doodling and stuff, and then they'll retouch up the eyes to give you a specific mood or expression for the pose that they're doing, and that's just so cute. Yeah, I love it.
Sometimes it's not even the photographers that do that, it's the artists.
The
There's
artists themselves.
some artists will like if you give them a photo, they'll edit that photo specifically to do that.
I did see
I
a
mean,
big trend on that.
yeah, it is actually kind of like I guess you could say an art style in that. I mean, it could be the photographer itself that does that, but I've seen other artists where they take that and change it. Um, like some photographers do panels specifically with certain moods. There was one with Blue Hesna, I want to say. I hope I said it right.
Blue Hesna.
Um, yeah, the Blue Derg.
Okay. What are they about?
But he does some photography, and there was one panel that he did at FC.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was FC, and it was more of a jail noir, like, mafia kind of era,
Kind of
kind
like
of
New York rogue kind of style,
road.
like
Yeah, so
nitty
like
gritty.
there'd be nitty gritty, black and white ish.
Yeah, I love that Noir
Like,
style.
yeah, so he did like a little bit of North style. He also played around with like lighting effects. So some people brought in like lightsabers, and so there was like a little bit of lighting effects because he could dim the room and stuff like that. Because
Ooh.
they gave him a room that had dimming lights,
Oh,
and
that's
so he messed
sweet.
around with that and did a couple of photography. I think I can find it, and it was really cool because there was one where he's got on a ladder and took a picture going down, and then I acted like I was essentially falling or something into the darkness. But it was all super cool. But I haven't.
Does the
I'd like to see. To be honest, I'd like to see more panels of that where there's just like, because I've seen panels like, oh yeah, this is how to do certain photographies like color corrections and stuff like that, or using Lightroom. But I think it'd be kind of cool to see more panels with just specifically like, hey, I have this theme in mind, and this is what I want to do.
Yeah, that's what I really can get behind, because in some cases it'll cross over and you'll have actual like pro professionals, and I mean, just to use the term, like that are in the industry, and then they carry over their skills into the fandom because they're also just really awesome and they're in the fandom anyway. But a
I like
lot of it though comes from just that background and passion into these hobbies. So it's really cool to see like some of the photographers doing some shot calling, like saying like, "Hey, go stand over there and do this pose. It'd be really cute." And I really like that kind of sense of
yeah, and
directorness.
and I think that's kind of fun. Like, I like doing that every once in a while when I, see an object. Like, for example, Winter Circle, at BLFC last year, actually. It was
Mm-hmm.
fun to go around with them for that hour and just be like, oh, I saw this X prop over here. Let's do something with that. And like, um, you can even see it on uh web my web smug mug website.
Check out your smug mug.
Yeah, plug.
What is your smug mug?
Uh,
Is it just Blarg? Blarg Dragon?
no, it's a Dragonfly photography.
Check him out.
Yeah, dragonsflyphoto.smugmug.com if you want to check it out. Uh, I need to post more on edits, essentially. There's probably a few that I should edit, but I should post more of what I just take in general.
All
Because some
raw.
of it, I don't need to go through and edit all of them as much as I like to. There's still some that are just fine as is,
Yeah,
and I know that I
you
can
get a
make them
lot of
better.
you get a lot of nice shots that are kind of candid. Like you get really nice focus and bokeh too. I really like them.
Yeah. So in that website, if you go on the 2019, there's Winter's photo shoot, and yeah, I followed him around, and it was kind of fun because we went outside at the pool area at BLC, and we had him like sit, like do some interesting poses, and there was not these gazebos, but like these bench things, these really big bench things for couples, and it had these signs with reserved on it. So it was
Hmm.
kind of fun to mess around with the reserve sign. So you kind of just put it in places where it's like reserved.
Oh, what on his
Um,
crotch?
yeah, yeah.
I knew it. I called it.
I was gonna be a little PG, but yeah.
Oh, this show is not PG. Whenever I post it,
Oh,
even there's a on FA when you post like a thumbnail or art or something linked to this show, and I don't list it in general audience.
okay. I wasn't sure how what level it was.
Well, it's sometimes general and then other times mature.
Okay, well, we'll be slightly
I mean,
mature.
I don't know. I don't get the whole censorship thing. But anyway, do you think that
Um,
the con going experience though, would you say that there are too many cons? Can one go to too many cons?
mm, do you want to like hear my answer to you, or do you want to hear like my mental answer?
How about both?
Uh, for you, babe, no, there is too many cons to go to, and
Oh.
sometimes you need a break. Mental answer, you could probably go to a con every week, and it'd be all right.
Oh, you'll be okay. You'll be healthy.
Yeah. Well, to an extent, it probably wouldn't be like healthy, like in multiple reasons, like
Mhm.
financially not too
You
healthy,
know,
and food-wise probably not too healthy,
everything it
and
takes
like
to
just
live.
traveling, and maybe, I mean, your immune system might be strong, so that might be healthy in that sense.
Oh yeah, you're gonna give it a really good test. I mean, what is your ideal con going kind of schedule?
I
Like,
like
if
every 6 months, to be honest.
fiscally, if
Like
it wasn't a problem,
if it wasn't financially a problem, every 3 months would be awesome.
that does sound pretty nice.
Because then it's like that good median break. Like if I'm on travel and there's a con in the local area, I'm gonna definitely hit that up. And with all in possibility, I'm gonna hit that up. If it's a local event, like just furs hanging out,
Hmm.
I'll probably try to hit that up. And it's not, and mostly just to like expand my, I guess you could say expand my network. It sounds a little selfish when I say that,
No, not at all. I don't think so.
but it's like just to get to know more people. It's like, oh, hey, what's going on? You know, what's with these new people and stuff like that, and get to understand people, like just listen to people and
It's just
see
poking
what
into
them,
those.
yeah, just poking into those people and just seeing what makes them them.
Hmm. And that is I get that a lot, and I mean I understand that where you're coming from because I mean that's in part too why I do this show. Like when you have the opportunity to really, and this is coming from an introvert, to get to know people, your way of thinking totally changes, and it changes in like the best meaningful way I could say, like beyond, kind of like there's a kind of nuance to it because when you're at work or you're kind of showing face or you're just going through the motions, like I guess you could say that you're working with people, but that's just you being professional. Or even with acquaintances, like it's just kind of this passing. And I think that it's so much deeper though when I get the chance to like go to a con, talk with people over this interest, and it gets so much deeper down the rabbit hole. And that's like, I look forward to that every opportunity I get.
Yeah. And um it's just fascinating. The only downside to it, I guess you could say, and this is more of like on a communication level
Mm-hmm.
and like friendship level that I had with um one of the other furs who's very introverted. Um you could say that maybe it doesn't create as strong of a bond, maybe, and that's kind of a thought that I still mull over, is like what constitute the strength of a relationship,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe it varies with different people. Maybe some people have the ability to have a lot of strong bond relationships.
That
I'm
is
not gonna say that myself is able to do that, but like maybe there's a certain extent, like yeah, you get to know a lot of people, but maybe it's those bonds are not as strong as say those people who might be more introverted, because those introverted people have strong ties with those around them.
that is speaking
It's just
to
not in plethora.
Yeah, that is speaking to a lot of people of the fandom that I've noticed, and I don't think I would not hold anybody against like not socializing because they're either too shy. Like everybody's got their own pace, and I totally respect that. Um,
Hmm.
but definitely I think that you only grow though when you get to know a lot more people, and then you develop like a different kind of empathy muscle in your brain. Um, I mean, I don't know like really in depth psychology or anything about that, but getting to feel yourself in other people's shoes is definitely something that helps you grow. Um,
I I think that is a fascinating thing to do. Like that's why I like the furry fandom. To me, I'm comfortable with the topic of furry, and starting from there, it's like, oh, what species you are, what's the backstory of your character. Get it,
yeah,
kind of lead that in as like as an introduction to learn like you. I don't, whatever, to learn you, whatever preference you are, whether that's, are you a they, are you a she, a he, you know, but mostly to get that basis of who are you? Oh, I am uh
and you can ascribe anything.
Dragar the Great or something,
Yeah.
and I have taken over multiple cities with my great power. And
and,
with that, and then it's like, okay, and then you sit with them. It's like, oh, I'm Blargh, and then you explain the character's backstory, and then you can get into other things. It's like, oh, what do you do for work, or like, what are your interests?
I
Like, do you
find
like enjoying those things? And you can either share experiences, like, oh, you play paintball, oh, I play paintball, what do you use, or uh delve into other things where it's like, um I do piloting, and then it's like, oh, you do pilot, you fly planes and stuff like that. How is that? Like, what kind of planes do you fly, and
mhm.
etc.
And you may have never known that. And this is kind of bleeding into like I find that like the way that a person would be able to like show that their different characteristics and stuff in the fandom is I think maybe even more true to the person, because I'm more comfortable knowing that they're speaking to you about what they are, who that they think that they are, and how they're sharing that with you. That's definitely something that I think can kind of go amiss sometimes outside in like regular like societal norms. It can kind of go under the radar and you might not even discover those things. Um, the even suiting, I think that's a really good example. Like people will, even if you're shy, like you can develop this character in a way where you ascribe those things to this character that you made. But even like for a lot of people, they're not just a separate entity. I mean, you can be. That's totally up to you, and there's a lot of freedom there. But sometimes those characters are just an extension of them. So when like I'm Theo, I'm still Theo in suit. It's no different than me in that character.
Yeah. And that And it all just depends on how the people use the fandom as quote unquote an escape, you could say, or like just a way to express themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Which is fascinating because some people um kind of light up like a bulb, just like, hey, this is me now, and they can switch on a dime to like who they are,
Yeah,
depending on which character they decide to play.
it's just so much nicer. I guess this kind of sounds obvious, but it's so much nicer just being around people who are really excited to like engage and like have this energy. And I think that's what the culmination of the cons are. So maybe beyond like from the question that I asked you earlier, like are there too many cons? I think just social burnout would be my biggest challenge.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, maybe there is, you'd get some social burnout, but it's in order to prevent that sort of burnout, it's to understand like when your limit is, because there's times where you need time for yourself, and that's why I'd say maybe if I could without financial or work reason problems, every 3 months I'd be okay, because then between those 3 months I could relax with you, or just relax with myself doing what
Yeah, go off and do our own
I
thing.
personally want to do. Because I think also self-development, like yeah, going to con is fun and all that, but
It doesn't have to be
it
work. Yeah.
it may not provide much development that you need unless you're say like a volunteer and stuff like that, and you're volunteering in an area that you wish to keep developing. I was talking to Digit actually when I met him at TFF, and
Mm-hmm.
he's getting into like a degree in video and audio stuff. And I told him like, why don't you just volunteer in say like AV areas and stuff like that? Because those are perfect times to take the lessons or put it in practice. Like BLFC, I'm sure they have volunteers for those AV sets or for those video cameramen. And
Yeah, I'm sure
that's perfect opportunities to gain skills,
they can use
even at a
all the help.
convention.
Yeah, for sure. And that is talking to a really good place because I spoke with Paradox before actually, and he's definitely invested in that side of the community from all of the production work that he's been through. And the cool part, just to reiterate what he said, was when you're on like a gimbal or a crane or something like that, really expensive stuff, really high end stuff, and you're getting the experience with that. If you mess up, that's okay. That's a part of the experience, and learning from that is okay. Because
Testable.
you're
Testable.
oh god, we can talk about that later. But but you have the ability to fail without really severe consequences because your boss is like a talking badger or something. You can have that kind of levity to enjoy the working and developing your skills.
It'd be really funny if the boss was a mole with
A
a hard hat
bowl?
on.
A
No, a
what?
mole with a hard
Um
hat on with a pickaxe,
he's
and
just
he's
gonna be
just
Mr.
screaming at you.
Rossetti. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh I
Why
was
did you mess up this camera?
I'm so hype. I don't know what his new role is in Animal Crossing.
I think he's
Supposedly,
the rescuer. He's the
yes.
rescuer, so you can
So
like fly back to the house or something.
yeah, but he's a mole. He belongs in the ground. That's his natural habitat. And then he's gonna be
Yeah, but
what in the helicopter?
even moles have to adapt and change and keep their jobs alive.
Right. They got to get their licensing for piloting. The air is where it's at. I think
I
that's
know,
more of a avian perspective.
but don't worry. We're gonna get stuck specifically on a stranded island
Well, I
that
I mean,
you have to build.
I
What
got
a
a good
vacation
start.
to have.
We live in the 50th state.
I think it's super funny. It's like, yeah, we're gonna put you on this nice vacation package to a stranded island and survive. It's like,
You know,
oh,
see, Master Tom Nook, he's back at it again.
yeah,
You think you
it's,
think you
instead of
escaped his clutches? No.
instead of who's it? Tom, uh,
The
who's the
new the
Bethesda developer?
Bethesda.
Is it Bethesda Tom. I can't remember his name.
I don't know
The
who
one
that
who made
is.
Skyrim, the one everyone makes fun. Oh, Tom Howard. That's what it was.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
It's like instead of like, oh, Tom Howard, it's like, oh, Tom Nook or
Oh,
something.
is he getting flack for that or something, or is he getting joked around
Tom
with?
Nook. I don't know. Tom Nook always comes up with some like grand scheme. It's like, oh yeah, you know what? I built you this house, man. It's all right. By the way, it's gonna cost you an arm and a leg.
To be
Yeah, and
fair,
even though you didn't ask for this house, I'm gonna make you pay for it anyways. It's
to
like,
be fair, you can just live in a tent your whole life.
I could, but
And you can
I don't.
pay it off. It's not necessary.
Oh yeah, it's by points for this one, yeah, or something.
Well, even from the last games in New Leaf, you didn't have to upgrade. Like once you actually paid off your little tent and stuff and went to your little home, you didn't have to do anything further than that, as far as I
Oh no,
know.
yeah, no, I remember because like I think yeah, New Leaf was the one where they started where it was like you can decide whether you want to upgrade or not.
Yes.
But like all the previous iterations were like, yeah, so you just finished paying it off? Uh,
I'm
I'm gonna
gonna
build
need
you a
that.
bigger house, and I'm
Yeah.
gonna need a new loan off of you. Like, damn, Tom Nook, you just can't wait,
I mean, I could.
bro.
And then, if you don't want to pay them, I could outfit you with these nice cement shoes, down by the riverside. I don't know what he does on
Yeah,
his spare time.
you know that free diving suit? Yeah, except made out of
Wasn't so
cement.
free.
He's just like, oh my God, that'd be kind of a funny fan art. It's just like a mafia version of Tom Nook.
Oh, he would totally be like Big Papa Tom Nook.
Big pop. And you got the two sons sitting like side by side as bodyguards or something.
The Nooklings.
Nuclear.
Well, that's what they are. I mean, the funny thing is Tom Nook doesn't really have kids. I think they're his uncle, and those are his like what do you call from uncle?
Cousins?
No, no, no. What do you call
Or not cousins.
um nephews? There you go.
Nephews. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
I don't know
so
why I said
he either has a
cousins.
brother or a sister that had children, so there's still more lore in the Nook family.
Oh no.
I mean, the
Yeah,
Animal
oh my God.
Crossing.
What if it is a big Nook family? They're just part of the mafia.
I mean, they could go in that direction. It sounds a little dark for Animal Crossing.
There's a dark crossing.
Yeah, that's the extended DLC that's what took so long for the Switch release. That's why they had to delay it for a year.
Oh, that's what it is. Yeah, because they had to figure out how to handle good old Tom Nook.
Yeah, how do you fit in guns into Nintendo?
I saw a meme on that.
Was it what was it?
It was a picture of your character using the selector wheel for all the tools, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they covered all the tools with like the guns from GTA where the
Oh
selector
god.
menus are. So
Oh my gosh. Okay.
so,
Oh
yeah, it's
shit.
just select your tool.
God, and then it's just GTA but Animal Crossing.
Go, gotta pop a cap in that elephant's ass.
Hey, you gotta collect them bells. I got a loan to pay
Oh,
off.
yeah.
But
Oh
um
God, no.
okay, so thanks for joining me, babe. I really appreciate the sit down. I mean, like heck, you're all the way freaking like 3,000 miles away, but I'm still glad you got to make it here on an episode of TreeBark. Are there any last
Bark,
things that
bark.
you'd like to mention?
Keep on and draw on. I don't know.
Hell yeah. As an artist, I totally back that, and I will fight you otherwise.
Or keep on and bark on, I guess is more fitting for your show.
Correction. I will back that even harder. So thanks for joining me. And I hope to see you soon, babe, and then maybe we can actually do another episode in person.
Yeah,
So, thanks for joining us,
but
guys. This has been TreeBark. I will catch you guys later. And a big shout out to my Patreon supporters, starting with the Patron Pups, Ben Campbell, and Tyler Green. Thank you to my good boy supporters, Howler, and a huge shout out to my top dog supporters, Blargh, MN, Moody, Damon, Ferris, Artorius Nightwalker, and Ella Ryra. Thank you so much, guys, for supporting my content, and if you'd like to see more, follow my Patreon or my Twitter, all at Shikokubo, Shikokubo. Thank you very much, and have a good day.